If you've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's and you have been told that you have to be on meds forever and be managing it for the rest of your life, then you haven't been told the full truth about Hashimoto's. In this video, we're going to cover what's really going on with your immune system, what your thyroid needs to thrive, and how you can begin to lower those antibodies naturally so that you could start to feel like yourself again, get back into your body, have regular periods, get more energy, start to lose weight, grow that hair back, and feel like yourself again. Hi, I'm Dr. Bala. I'm a naturopathic doctor and I specialize in women's hormonal health, and I help women get to the root of what's going on, understanding their bodies so that they can actually feel like themselves again without needing a Band-Aid approach. Most Hashimoto's care focuses only on your thyroid, but the problem is that it's not just your thyroid that's the problem. Your thyroid is actually the victim here. It's actually a different approach that we need to consider when you have something like Hashimoto's or thyroid problems in general. I want you to first understand that Hashimoto's is not a thyroid problem first. It's an immune system problem. So it's often framed as a thyroid condition, but it actually starts in your immune system. And when your immune system starts to become dysregulated, whether that's from gut issues, environmental toxins, or chronic stress, infections, chronic issues like mold or EBV, something like that, it starts attacking your thyroid gland. And the thyroid isn't the villain here. It becomes the battleground. So if you've been told that your labs are fine every time you get your hormones checked and you have irregular periods, you have weight gain, you're losing your hair, your eyebrows are thinning, and you notice that you're just super fatigued, you're not sleeping well, you're not pooping well, you're like, something has to be wrong with my thyroid. I just feel like something's off. But if your labs are normal every time you go in and they're like, your TSH looks fine, there is more to the picture. We have to look at what's going on with your antibodies, because if your immune system is still inflamed, your body is still sounding the alarm and you're going to have those symptoms even if your TSH looks normal. So I want you to understand that Hashimoto's is not just about your thyroid hormones, okay? Healing starts with calming that immune system activation in the first place. So here's why your thyroid antibodies matter, even if your other thyroid labs are showing up fine. Thyroid antibodies like your anti-TPO and anti-TG are early markers of immune system attack. It's often showing up before TSH or T4 actually change, which is why it's so important to look at this regularly. If you suspect something might be going on with your thyroid, you have those thyroid symptoms, let's look at your thyroid antibodies, because they're not just lab numbers. High antibodies are linked to those symptoms that you're having, mood swings, that brain fog, even increased cardiovascular risk. And I know we've been taught to wait until your TSH goes out of range. By the time we wait until your TSH is out of range, the damage is already done to your thyroid, right? And it's a lot harder to reverse the damage that's done to that point, because when your TSH is off, that is telling me your thyroid has been under stress. It's been under a lot of damage for such a long time that it's now affecting the signal from your brain. So TSH is the hormone that your brain is sending to your thyroid to talk to your thyroid to make thyroid hormone. So if that signaling is off, this has been off for a really long time. But the good news is that you can reduce antibodies naturally. And when you remove the triggers and support your body's systems, these start to go down. And the reason that your doctor hasn't been checking thyroid antibodies is because they don't have answers for how to lower your antibodies, because lowering your antibodies comes down to how is your gut doing? How is your liver doing? How's your nervous system doing? How's your cortisol doing? What are you eating? What are you putting into your body? How are you moving your body? How is your stress doing? What does your day look like? What's your morning routine? When was the last time your doctor asked you all those questions when you went in for a thyroid check? I'm going to guess the answer is never. And that is why they're not checking your antibodies, because if your TSH looks fine, your T4 looks fine, you're not a candidate for thyroid medication. They're not going to talk to you about the lifestyle changes, so why bother testing the antibodies? That is where I come in. I want to know what the antibodies are doing so that we can start treating those things, those little things that are off with your immune function first, so that we're not attacking your thyroid anymore. Your poor thyroid, she's just along for the ride and she's getting attacked for no reason. So to recap, high antibodies equal an active immune attack, even if your thyroid labs look normal, which is why we always want to test anti-TG and anti-TPO antibodies. So what does lowering your antibodies actually look like? Here's what the research says. So let's talk tools, because the right ones work when we use them intentionally and when we use them for your body, right? Not everyone's body is the same. Every woman with Hashimoto's is going to look different. So just because your sister has Hashimoto's and you do too, doesn't mean you guys are going to have the same treatment plan when it comes to lowering your antibodies. If your life looks different, if you live in a different environment, if your relationships and your stress and your food is all different, then your treatment plans are going to look different. First of all, let's talk about a few different options that we have for lowering antibodies. The first one is selenium. There's a lot of research to show that selenium can lower your anti-TPO antibodies up to 40%. That is definitely one that I love to use for women who have Hashimoto's who have really elevated anti-TPO. Inositol is another one that you might have heard of if you have something like PCOS. Inositol is really big in the PCOS world, and I love using it for thyroid issues, for Hashimoto's, because there's a lot of research to support that inositol can support your TSH sensitivity and your blood sugar, which then comes back to your thyroid function. Then we have curcumin, which we all know about turmeric. We all know its anti-inflammatory effects, and it's still affecting your immune function, right? It's affecting that inflammation. And when we can lower that overall inflammation in your body, that is going to support lowering your antibodies as well. And then lastly, we have vitamin D. There's a ton of research that vitamin D can regulate your mood, regulate your immune function, and help with lowering antibodies. But I need you to understand this. I know we're talking about all the supplements, and there is a lot of research for these supplements. But if you're like, I've tried these supplements, I've tried lots of different supplements, I've tried the herbs, I've tried so many things that have been researched, but I haven't seen a change, I need you to understand that supplements aren't magic, okay? You have to calm that internal fire first. You have to have a healthy foundation first by removing triggers, by removing blood sugar crashes, by supporting your gut function, by managing your stress, by having a healthy bedtime routine. All of the foundational pieces are what is going to be the most important for you before adding in the supplements. Because if all of that is out of whack and you're like, let me take some curcumin, let me add in some inositol, waiting for your antibodies to change, you're not going to see as much of a difference. It's not going to land as well if the foundational pieces aren't in check. So to recap, there are lots of supplements that we can use, and there is a lot of research to support using these in lowering your antibodies. And that's only going to be the most effective when your immune system feels safe and regulated, when your nervous system feels safe and regulated, when your foundational health is in a good spot. So that brings us to the thyroid hormone connection. Your thyroid doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of the whole hormonal cascade going on in your entire body. So when thyroid function starts to slow down, it disrupts ovulation, it lowers progesterone, it's going to worsen your PMS symptoms, it's going to cause you to gain weight, that's going to come back to your blood sugar, you're going to have mood swings, you're going to have irritability, you're going to have heavy bleeding, even your body temperature, your metabolism, your energy levels, your brain fog, all of those things start to show up because your thyroid isn't functioning well. So if your periods are feeling erratic, they're painful, or you just feel off, your thyroid might be that missing link. So just because your hormones look fine, your TSH looks fine, doesn't mean there's more brewing under the surface. So I want you to understand that thyroid function disrupts your entire hormonal ecosystem, especially your menstrual cycle. So if you're seeing a ton of issues, plus your periods are a little bit off, we want to look deeper into that thyroid function. Now we have stress in your HPA axis, and this is kind of what is driving all of this. Your HPA axis and your HPT axis. So HPA is your brain and your adrenal glands talking together, and HPT is your brain and your thyroid talking together, and they both control, the HPA axis controls the HPT axis. No healing is going to happen when your body feels unsafe. So your HPA axis is the brain adrenal stress circuit, and that is controlling your cortisol. Chronic stress, that's going to suppress your thyroid hormone conversion. It's going to suppress ovulation. You're going to have lowered progesterone responses if you are ovulating. So you might feel really wired at night, even though you've been exhausted all day. You're crashing in the middle of the day. You're struggling to sleep. And this is your stress response system overriding your healing pathways. So you're not going to see improvements if that stress isn't managed well. And we have to support the nervous system if we want that lasting hormonal repair. So that's going to look different for everyone. What is the driving factor for your nervous system feeling unsafe, being out of whack? What is that for you? Is it your job? Is it your relationships? Is it communication? Is it maybe stuff from your childhood? Maybe some grief happened a few years ago that has internalized and you haven't fully processed it. Maybe you need to let go of something. There's so many different ways and areas where this might be affecting our life. So figuring that out for you is going to be really helpful, because anytime there's this brick wall in front of us that our nervous system has put up, it's going to impair healing. So you might be asking, can you really heal Hashimoto's? And my answer to you is yes. I work with women all the time who have Hashimoto's, and we have lowered antibodies significantly. We've gotten rid of their symptoms. Their periods are back on track. They were able to get pregnant. They're not having to take medication anymore, or they're able to lower their medication dose. And here's what it takes. So remission is totally possible. But healing isn't a 10-step supplement list. It's about calming the immune function, supporting your gut, supporting your liver, supporting your HPA axis, supporting that adrenal function, supporting the stress, and then using labs to personalize your path. The goal isn't about being perfect with all of this. It's really just reducing the chaos that's in your internal environment so that any supplements, any medication, even the medication that you take, if you're someone who has to be on thyroid medication and you're noticing that every 6 months your dose keeps increasing and increasing and increasing, that's telling me your internal system is not working as well as we'd like it to. Ideally, when I work with women, we get them to lower their dose of medication and then stay at that same dose for years at a time. So that is my goal for you. If you are on medication, if you are on the lowest dose, you want to get off of it, that is possible too. We have to look at what's inside your body. So remission is going to happen when your body feels safe, when your body feels supported, and inflammation is under control. And what that's going to look like for you really just depends on what else is going on. Do you have gut dysbiosis? What does your daily life look like? What are your other labs showing? Do you have insulin resistance? Do you have fatty liver disease? Do you have a toddler running around at home dictating how you're sleeping? There's so many different factors that we have to look at. And so personalizing that path is going to come down to you and your body alone. So if this resonated with you, you're not broken. You just need a plan that works for your body, not against it. If you want more videos on hormone health, healing without Band-Aid solutions, then subscribe and tap the bell and comment remission if you're ready for the next step. And I'd love to hear where you are in your journey.